Well, we're on our way to Evanston yet again.
This is like the third time within a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's been 3 major events here. The Big Boy, and it's kind of fun because when Union Pacific said they were going to change their plans and actually have a public display in Evanston within just a couple of weeks put together a whole train show.
That sounds like the people of Evanston.
Anyway, this week it's their regular annual Roundhouse Festival.
Right.
And we always make it, well, whenever possible, we always make it to the Roundhouse Festival, which includes one of the area's best train shows. And this train show is held in the old Union Pacific Roundhouse.
Oh, that's so neat.
Evanston's been working for years now, restoring the old roundhouse and shop facilities.
And I'm so glad. I like their decoration. It's almost a xeriscape, but it adds to that Old West look.
And they're keeping just enough of the authentic roundhouse while still making it functional as an event center.
Right.
And so it's kind of a wonderful blending of both. They've also kept a lot of the old Union Pacific equipment. Union Pacific just gave them all this stuff, including the shops.
Yes.
And said, have at it and have fun and do your best.
Right.
So the event is put on by the city of Evanston, but they've got an arrangement with a local train club, the Hostlers, and they bring in lots of train clubs and train dealers and stuff.
Right, and I like the vendors. There's a lot of the local vendors that come in and sell their homemade goods, such as soaps and jewelry, as well as like supplies if you're into hobby making.
So this is one of the local clubs. They do high rail O-scale Lionel stuff.
Oh, fun.
So it's still 3-rail Lionel, but they try to do it in the most scale accurate way possible. And you'll notice they've got a bunch of Steve Stribble's buildings here.
I was just going to say, I love the buildings.
These were H7s from the CNO, and Union Pacific bought, I think it was 10 of them, and they were impressed with the tractive effort. And so they took the design and improved on it, and that's where we get the Big Boy.
Sweet.
And they were impressive locomotives. They were hauling iron ore and everything. Even on the CNO, they were an iron ore hauling engine.
This is Spring Creek model trains, and they come in from Nebraska.
Oh, that's a ways to come.
But they almost always make it to not just this train show, but quite often the Ogden show too. And this is Wasatch N-Scale. They are a fun group.
Oh, yes.
And they seem to make it to every train show. All you have to do is say you're going to have a train show, and they show. Oh, look, here comes Ed. And
It's going about that fast, too.
I think they're exceeding track speed a little bit here. And slow down, for crying out loud. Everybody loves the big boy. In fact, the big boy was just here in Evanston a few weeks ago.
Right, and about that fast, too.
Now here's a fun thing. These are Union Pacific heritage units.
Wow.
So what they've done, every time Union Pacific absorbs a railroad, and boy, they've absorbed a lot, but they take one of their locomotives and they'll paint it sort of in the paint scheme of that railroad as an homage to the fallen railroad.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, this is my mom in the winter.
Oh,
Yep.
key rash. So here we can see Wasatch has been in all of these different Hostlers train shows pretty much every single year.
Right.
And the Hostlers actually put on 2 shows, the Evanston and the Ogden.
Both are really good.
It is if you like big trains. Well, for me, the biggest problem is just getting it to run. Back in the 70s, I couldn't get end scale to run, and it was frustrating. But
Yeah.
anymore, it's not an issue.
Well, now it's like a Swiss
high
watch, yeah.
quality. Yeah, it's just
There's a lot of good stuff out there.
I think the Z scale hasn't quite there.
now you can get whatever performance you want out of them.
Doesn't matter how much money you want.
Exactly. I wouldn't want to try scratch building it. So this was always one of my favorite buildings. It's a mine tipple with an overhead tram.
Isn't it in there kind of funny? I mean, if the train hits it, it's going to tipple right over.
Yeah, it's kind of sitting 90 degrees to where it's supposed to sit.
Ugh.
And this is the Ophir, Tintic, and Western Club. They have both HO and N. They just brought their N railroad, but fabulous, fabulous stuff.
Right.
All of this is going on in the machine shop building,
Right.
but the largest building here is, of course, the Roundhouse.
Oh, and it's so neat inside.
They've got the entire exterior fixed up and renovated, and they've got about 30% maybe of the inside finished. But it's such a huge building that still leaves an enormous amount of space in here to set things up.
Right.
So they've got 3 different railroad clubs in here, as well as the bulk of the dealers. So while they've kept a lot of the original feel of the Roundhouse, they've also remodeled this into meeting rooms, and well, they want it to be a huge event center.
Right.
And they've got a lot of really fun displays around here, pictures and whatnot, going back to the time when this was a working Union Pacific Roundhouse.
Right. Lots of history here.
Whenever I see something like this, it really makes me wish there was such a thing as time travel.
Oh, no kidding.
The list of things I would want to travel back and see.
Exactly.
Here's another Union Pacific passenger train, this time pulled by one of their big Northerns.
Wow, I really like where they're manufacturing this steel. That looks actually real.
That's such a beautiful facility over there, that steel mill.
That's beautiful.
And huge.
Yeah.
Union Pacific. It's his train. This black one that's in the room, it's his.
You know, we're seeing a lot more European stuff being modeled.
Right. It kind of stands out. I like it.
There's even a European train club.
Yes. Yes.
But this is a German steam locomotive, pre-war, and a German train. Just fascinating to see this stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
The German stuff from that era is a little bit different than the other countries. Germany liked large locomotives similar to the United States. So while the equipment's very much different, it's also much larger than the other European countries. That's pretty. German?
Yeah. German DR pre-war.
Yeah. We've seen this module at a lot of the train shows, and I really like it.
They've added to it, though.
Yes, they have. It's a really classic Old West scene, but now it has a thunderstorm.
Right. I have been trying to figure out how to do this.
We want to do this on the railroad. We need to pick some brains here and find out just how they went about this. That's just stunning. And over in this area, Lego.
Oh, this is fun.
There's always a Lego group at these shows, and this is just so much fun. And these guys had something I've never seen before. It isn't actually Lego, but it might as well be. But it's full-size Lego blocks.
Oh, look at that. You can build your own house.
This is so crazy fun.
Oh, kids would love it.
Yeah, the kids that were in here were just having a ball building, and then they'd tear it down and build something else.
That is so neat.
Because that's Lego.
Oh, hey, that's kids, too. I like really going to these other vendors here. You know, I like my jewelry and things like that, but mostly to support local artisans.
And then, like I said before, most of the dealers were put over here in the Roundhouse because, well, that's where they have the most space. And they have a lot of local dealers here, and a lot of train dealers too. Just massive inventory of trains here. Oh look, there's a Bachmann Connie.
Oh, wow.
One of my favorite engines. I guess that's why we have two of them.
Uh-huh.
If we didn't have two of them, this might have followed us home.
Well, there was another one I had my eye on, and if I'd have had $300 extra, this would have been following us home. This little blue Y&L.
So you have a lot of stuff here.
I got a lot of stuff. Tons and tons of stuff.
Do you just keep all this like in totes or something? We're
I
not
do,
doing
yeah.
shows?
Lots of totes right here that I haul it around, and this is the train show stuff, and all my eBay business is separate.
Oh, really?
It's separate, yep.
Wow.
And then all the stuff that I keep that I really like to have, that's separate also.
Because this is a ton of stuff. And this is just for shows then?
This is the show stuff, yes.
And eBay's separate. I just assumed it was all the same thing.
No, eBay separate, yep.
Because that'd be tricky keeping track of which is
There's
what.
4,500 listings on eBay.
There were a couple of brass dealers here at the show, but this booth over here really got my attention. If I didn't already have that locomotive right there, I'd have bought it.
Oh, that's neat.
I just love that locomotive. It's just beautiful. But all of these beautiful brass engines, they're all so unique. They were made in very, very small runs starting back in the 1950s and still being made, but so collectible, so wonderful. Now this is something fun. This is a shop switcher.
Oh, neat.
They have these huge water tanks because they have to be able to pull large locomotives out of the roundhouse so they don't have to fire up the big locomotive. And speaking of shop switchers,
There's this one.
there's the shop switcher for the Evanston Roundhouse.
Isn't that neat? It's coming right along, too.
Yeah, they've been restoring this, and it's over here in a part of the roundhouse that they haven't started on yet. I mean, they've got the shell of the building finished, but there's so much of the roundhouse still to be finished inside.
Right.
But over here, this huge project restoring the shop switcher, which they want to get running.
Yeah.
And here's an unusual display. This has been at train shows for years and years and years. These guys are trying to collect one example of every locomotive that ran on the Union Pacific post-war.
Goodness, I think they're almost there, aren't they?
Well, in terms of the diesel engines, pretty much. They've got almost everything from the 1940s and 50s and even into the 1960s. And some of the steam locomotives, but mostly diesels. And now they're collecting the more modern era stuff too.
Wow.
Now this is unusual, the Aero train. General Motors built 2 of these, and they ran on various railroads, but for about a year, I think, maybe longer, Union Pacific ran one of them as the City of Las Vegas, running it between Los Angeles and Las Vegas. And over here, another tin plate club, another Lionel club. This is Lionel and American Flyer.
Ah,
And boy, they have the big railroad. They need a lot of space to set this up.
yes, they do.
They managed to get it set up in a lot of different train shows. And it's just really fun to watch.
Oh, it is. I love the buildings.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed the show. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe.
Right.
We've noticed in the data that half of the people who watch these videos aren't subscribers.
Oh, my.
And it doesn't hurt anything, doesn't cost anything to just
No.
subscribe. And the easy way to do that is to click the upcoming button. Zoink, right there, the blue button.
Right.
Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Bye.